As we celebrate more than 50 years of Earth Day, Americans are eager to know more about solutions that work for addressing climate change in their community. Here to talk about filling in the gap for climate change is Daphne Moore, Communications Director for the Walton Family Foundation. Welcome, Daphne.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Yeah, so Daphne, the Walton Foundation helps recently commissioned a recent morning consult poll, which took a look at how Americans feel about climate change. Can you tell us what that poll found?
Yeah, one of the big findings for us is the importance of local news coverage of both the impacts of climate change, but also some of the solutions that folks are pursuing at the local level to address those impacts. It was about 3 out of 5 voters felt that it was really important to have local news covering these issues. There's also a challenge there, and that is that newsrooms are having to do a lot more with a lot less. And that's why foundations like ours are supporting journalists in newsrooms in creating the capacity for this coverage, but also the training that leads to the expertise necessary to deal with, kind of these complex and sometimes overwhelming concepts and really break it down to the local level and what are the solutions that are addressing the impacts.
And tell us about the connection between climate information or climate urgency portrayed on screen and finding solutions to the problem.
Well, we think that a public that is informed not only about the impacts, because like I said, they can be overwhelming at times, but also just the great ideas that are coming from all over to address solutions at the local level. And I think when we're looking at it from that perspective, we're able to come together, sometimes across lines of difference even, and really pursue solutions that create impact, positive impact at the local level, positive impact not only for nature, but for people, for communities, and for economies.
And why should we care about climate change solutions?
I think there's reasons to have hope. We are, excited to see some of the ways that communities are addressing the impacts in ways that are very bold and some ways that are just getting back to basics. We're really fascinated by the use of natural infrastructure, and in particular along the Colorado River Basin, efforts to restore beaver habitat. They're not only cute to look at, but they really, beaver habitat can help almost rehydrate wetlands that need the water so much. And when that happens, it mitigates the impacts of the fires that we seem to see, on a regular basis now.
And can you talk about the work of the Walton Foundation around climate change and the foundation's overall efforts for positive change?
Yeah, we are a family-led foundation, and we focus on access to opportunity, not only for people, but also for communities. And we do that through efforts in our home region, through education, and then, of course, the environment. And where we focus on the environment is around water, because we think that is where most of us, feel the impacts of climate change. And we also know that we all need water. That's something we can all agree on. And as we in our local communities are experiencing drought and subsequent fires or flooding, or along our coast, ocean rise, and I think just about everywhere, severe weather, it impacts all of us, and we're all motivated to come together to find creative solutions.
All right, all helpful tips. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. For more information, you can go to waltonfamilyfoundation.org.